Today I want to teach you something that it honestly took me years and years and years to understand, and I am consistently asked by fellow jewelry designers how to do this. It's how to do an inventory plan when you're running a small jewelry business. Figuring out how much inventory you should create for the next year or the next season and spacing it out so that you can budget it well is so important for your business being able to thrive. If you're not familiar with me, I'm Berenato, and I have been in business as a jewelry designer for 11 years, and I own my own brick and mortar store here in Austin, Texas. As my business grew, it became more and more crucial that I get these types of projections and inventory plans right. Whenever I would go online and Google inventory planning, it was always in reference to wholesale store buying, aka retail stores that sold other people's products. I couldn't find anything that accurately showed how to plan when you are both the maker and the seller. So I wanted to break it down for you the way that we do it within my business, and hopefully it'll help you take the next step in your own business and start to make more money by planning well. I do my projections after the close of every year. So my 2020 projections were figured out right after December 2019. So January 2020, I figured out my inventory projections for all of 2020. I separate my inventories into two halves. Quarter one and quarter two is in one half, and quarter three and quarter four is in a second half. The reason I separate out quarter three and quarter four and don't do the whole year at once is because I am a retail fashion business. So obviously most of my sales happen in November and December because of the holidays. So I want to make sure that I have the accurate inventory for that data set versus spreading it equally around the entire year. I also like to do it in half so that I can pivot if I see some type of change. For example, this year is 2020. We had coronavirus pandemic hit. All of our projections kind of went out the window and had to be altered in March. So it allows you to pivot your projections quickly when you need to. I'm going to go ahead and open up my projection sheets so that you can see exactly how I do it. For my business, I do my projections style by style so that I'm able to accurately order and produce every style based on what's selling and what I expect to sell the next year. All right, so the first thing you see on this chart is going to be every single style listed to the left side in the first column under product title. And that's every style that we carry and the different variants for ring sizes. You might see 6, 7, 8 listed. The following row is how many of that style we sold in the second half of 2019. Next to that, you'll see months in data set. And this is really important because we want to make sure that our average monthly sales per style is accurate. Meaning if there were times that we were sold out of that style, we are going to exclude that from our data set. So if you look at Abundance Necklace, for example, we sold 18 of them in 2019's second half of the year. But we only had 3 months where we had full stock available to sell. So our average monthly sales of that style is only 6. Then we move over to the next column where we have the 2020 Q2, and that's talking about the second half order projection. And the order projection is 36. It's just our average monthly sales times that 6-month period. In 2020, we expect to grow by 40%. So then you'll see on the next column that we have that 40% increase as 42 units. So that's how we have projected out our inventory for that style in 2020's second half of the year. Earlier I mentioned that you may have to pivot based on whether or not you're actually reaching your projected growth. 2020 is a great year to use as an example for that because in March we realized that this was not going to be a year that we were going to grow as expected, and we needed to hope to just maintain what we made in 2019. So we reduced our projections of what we ordered for the second half of 2020 back down with no 40% growth. It's going to be up to you to pay attention to those trends, to track your sales and see whether or not you're actually meeting your goals every month, and then to turn and pivot. Some of you may be wondering, why don't you pivot month to month? For us, our production period takes from 6 to 8 weeks to fully complete, from concept to final product. So say somebody orders a ring and wants us to make a special order for them. It takes me up to 8 weeks to get the final product back that's fully gold plated, etc. So doing something month to month, it doesn't make sense for us. It may make sense for you if you're able to produce within a week or 2 weeks, but I've always found it better to look at a more open data set. Also, it's too easy to just fall into the trap of trying to find a pattern that doesn't really exist. If you look at something in a 6-month period, you're going to really be able to see a trend, whether you're trending up or you're trending down. And like any business, sometimes you do have to eat some losses. For example, when coronavirus pandemic hit in March, we had already had our order plan out for the next 3 months and it was rolling out. So there was nothing we could do to kind of pull back that inventory at that point. But we were able to then pivot for the second half of the year. Leave your comments below. I'll try to answer any questions. And the next video I make is going to be about how to take these projections and then create an actual budget with them.